Hello, grade 11. Happy New Year, everyone. How's your New Year? I hope you are all safe and healthy. Happy New Year, everyone. God bless you all. Okay, so let's start our second semester. And we will concentrate about statistics and probability. Okay, so for the first part of our discussion, it will talk all about probability. Okay, so let's start our class with this topic. Okay, so we will start our class with random variables. Okay, so what is a random variable again? You actually heard this one when you are in grade 8. Diba yung nasa grade 8 pa kayo, ako yung teacher niyo na tama? Hindi pala sa lahat. Sa mga 2 grade 8, ano kasi yung section yun noon? Basta yung grade 8 kayong first section ng grade 8. Okay? So we will again concentrate about random variables. What are those random variables? Kapag sinabi ng random, okay? Kapag sinabi ng random, ano ibig ng random? Ha? Random, parang minimix. Tama? Minimix. Okay, random variables. What are those variables? Okay? We will know about all of those kapag nasa kalagitnaan na tayo ng ating lesson. Start. So for the objectives for this lesson, okay, at the end of this lesson, the learner should be able to accurately define a random variable. Okay, yan. So mag-define kayo agad-agad. Accurately represent real-life situations using random variables and correctly determine the possible values of a random variable. Yan. So mag-solve na tayo niya mamaya. We have two essential questions. The first one is, how does a random variable differ from an algebraic variable? What are some real-life situations that can be represented as random variables? Okay, so start. Okay. Let us first learn about it. Of course, let us define first what is a random variable. Okay, a random experiment, an experiment that can be repeated numerous times, okay, under the same conditions. So ang random experiment is an experiment that can be repeated numerous times. Okay? Take note for this one, repeated numerous times. For example, na-experiment ka na once and we need to validate your answers. We need to do another experiment using those again. Kaya kung ang ginamit mo ay coin, sa pangalawa mo, coin ulit. Coin, coin, coin. Okay? So it can be repeated numerous times under the same conditions, of course. Okay? Its result must be independent of one another. Of course, hindi mo naman masasabi na yung pangalawang sagot is parehas dito. Pangatlo parehas dito. No. So they are all independent. Okay? For example, we have a tossing a coin is a random experiment. Tossing a coin. Okay? So malimit yung gambling tayo dito. Okay, tossing a coin. That is a random experiment. Again, in summarizing this one, random experiment is an experiment that can be repeated numerous times with the same condition. Okay, with the same condition. And the results must be independent of one another. Okay, so tossing a coin is a random experiment. What else? Maybe I think rolling a die. Okay, if you roll a die, that is also a random experiment. Ano pa? Of course, yung pusoy is also a random experiment. Okay, the cards. Those are examples of random experiment. Okay, what else? Outcome. Outcome. From the word itself, outcome, it is result. So the outcome is the result of a random experiment. For example, this one. A possible outcome of tossing a coin is a head or a tail. Tama? If you toss a coin, so pwede maging outcome is head. Pwede naman tail, hindi pwedeng pares na head tsaka tail. Isa lang yung coin mo. Okay? So if you toss a coin, it's either a head or a tail. Those are what we call outcomes. Ano yung kalalabasan ng experiment mo? That is outcome. Okay? The third one, we have the sample space. If you already know, okay, kung ano yung magiging outcome mo, malalaman mo ano yung mga sample space, ano yung mga ilalagay ko. Okay? So we say sample space is the set of possible outcomes. Ano yung possible outcomes? Pwedeng maging result. Okay? Pwedeng maging sagot. Pwedeng maging, tawag dito, synonym sa mga ganun. Okay? Pwedeng maging result, outcome, pwedeng maging sagot, pwedeng maging, yung hinahanap mo, pwedeng ganon. Okay? Of a random experiment. Denoted by a capital letter only. Tandaan nyo ha, capital letter. For example, this one. The sample space of tossing a coin is S, H, T. Ano yung HT na yan? We have head and then tail. Again, head, tail. Head, tail. Ano yung S na yan? So this one is denoted as sample space. Sample space. Yun yung S. Usually, pero pwede mo na siyang pwede mong gamitin ang any letter. Okay? Any letter sa alphabet natin. Pwede mong gamitin ang A, B, C, it's up to you. That is a sample space. Basta ang sample space, ito ay a big letter or capital letter. Nandito. Capital letter. Okay? So we have the first one, we have the random experiment. Number 2, outcome. Number 3, sample space. Number 4, this one is the random variable. Ano naman yung random variable na yan? A function, so it is still included in the function. A function that associates a numerical value to every outcome of a random experiment. Again, a function that associates a numerical value, so numbers, to every outcome of a random experiment, okay? Denoted by a capital letter, usually X. Again, capital letter, huh? The domain is the sample space and the range is some set of real numbers. The domain, X, right? The domain is the sample space and the range is some subset of real numbers, yung Y niya. Ano yung sample space kanina? Sample space, ito yung maglalaman ng mga possible outcomes. Okay? Yung outcomes, yung result. Random experiment, yung gagawin mo. Pwede mo siyang ulit-ulitin anytime. Okay? So we have those 4 important vocabularies or 4 important words or phrases na gagamitin natin sa ating lesson. Let's try this one. So we will apply the random experiment outcome. Ano isa kasi? Random experiment outcome, sample space, and then a random variable. Let X be a random variable that denotes the result of rolling a die. Ano yung die? It's a cube like merong 1, dot, 2, something like that. Okay? Alam niyo. So what are the possible values of X? Ano yung X kasi kanina? Bigla ng X, ito yung random variable. So what are the possible values of X? Okay. Solution. The sample space of rolling a die is, so we have the sample space S equals bracket 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Tama. Yun yung mga possible outcomes. So we need to list down all of those. Thus, the possible values of x are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Sabihin, these are the possible, these are the outcomes. Okay, possible outcomes. So these are the values of x. Hinahanap yung mga random variable na yun. Okay, so those are the random variables. Yung mga pwedeng maging sagot. Okay? Number 2, a coin is flipped 3 times. If x represents the number of tails of the outcome, what are the possible values of x? Again, a coin is flipped 3 times. List the possible outcomes of the experiment. Okay, this can be done using a table or tree diagram, but I will let us use the tree diagram. This is more accurate. Ito yung mas pinakamadaling gawin. Okay, let H represent heads and T represent tails. So, to understand this one, it's medyo tricky siya, but I think the others can still remember this one, but I need to stop sharing first. Ayan, para I will change camera. Okay. So sabi kanina, we have 3 coins. So we have 3 coins. 3 coins. Then, no, not 3 coins. 3, tossing a coin 3 times pala. Tossing a coin 3 times. Tossing a coin 3 times. Okay, so tossing a coin 3 times. So it becomes this. So I have the head and that's it. Okay, this is the first toss. Unang toss yan, unang toss. Unang toss. It's the head and tail. It's either head or tail. Okay, so yung ating unang toss, ang kanyang sample space is HT. Okay, kasi dalawa lang naman sila, HT lang naman sila. These are the possible outcomes. Sa second toss natin, okay, so gagawa ulit tayo ng nasa ilang branches. So yung H, pwede pa rin siyang maging H or T. Sa T, pwede pa rin siyang maging H or T. So for our second branch or second layer, meron na tayong HH, HT, TH, TT. So pag pinos mo yung dalawang coins, pwede dalawang H ang lumabas, pwede isang H, pwede isang T ang lumabas, at pwede dalawang T ang lumabas. Okay? Now for the last toss, since we have 3 times, another layer, let's get this. And so ang H magiging HT ulit, yung T, HT ulit, HT, HT, HT. Okay? So for the third, so ito yung pinaka-clue natin. So let us identify the sample space. Ang sample space natin, since we already did tossing a coin 3 times, okay, let us now find their sample space. So meron tayo, the first one. So pag ilista, need to observe well, okay? So I will start with this side. Kuha tayo, ha? So kukunin mo si H, H, H. Okay. H, H, H. Pangalawa, H, H, T. H, H, T. And then we have H, T, H. H, T, H. And then the last one for this one, H, T, C. H, T, T. Okay, so this one is finished. Let's proceed with this one. Satin naman tayo. So we have T, H, H. H, H. T, H, T. T, H, T. Next, T, T, H. T, T, H. Then T, T, T. Triple T. Dami namang T na. Okay, so T, T, T. So this will be our sample space. Okay, so ang tatanungin nyo doon is how many, tawag dito, what will be the value of our random variables? Bibilangin lang natin ang ilan. Bibilangin lang natin ang ilan. So ang ating pinaka variable, ilan sila? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 variables. Now, so what will be the answer there? Okay, I will change my camera. Oh no, I will just share the screen pala. Ayan. So ang question kanina is, what are the possible values of x? What are the possible values of x? So ang possible values ng x is HHH, HHT, HTH, HTT, THH, THT, TTH, and TTT. Those are the possible values of x. Kapag nag-toss tayo ng coin 3 times. Okay? So these are the values of x. Now, so if those are the possible values, let us count each. What if we have here a, tawag dito, meron tayong specific na question. If x represents the number of tails of the outcome, what are the possible values of x? Kapag si x ay tail, okay, so we need to count ilang tails. Ilang tails yung pwede. Okay, nalalabas if we flip a coin 3 times. Okay? So sa HHH, wala namang T. So 0. Sa HHT, may isa. Right? So we have 1. HTH, may isa rin. HTT, meron tayong dalawa. Okay? Next one. THH, we have 1. THT, we have 2. TTH, we have 2 tails. And for TTT, we have 3 tails. Now, so paano ililista, excuse me, paano ililista yung mga possible values ng x if x is a tail? So we will write this like this. So based on the table, the number of tails can be 0, 1, 2, or 3. Okay? Thus, the possible values of x are 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Take note, if we have a specific question just like this, okay, we have processed the number of tails of the outcome, we need to do this like this. But, okay, but if we don't have any kind of specifications or specific questions like this, kunwari ito lang, a coin is flipped 3 times, what are the possible values of x? So kapag yun ang tanong, ang sagot natin is HHH, HHT, HTH, HTT, etc. But if you have a specific question, so like this one, so meron tayo ibang sagot. Okay? Okay. Okay, so this will be your first activity. So this one is the individual practice. I will send this to your Keeper account. And then you can pass this one until the next Saturday. Okay, until next Saturday. I will give this one to you. So individual practice, you have number one, a mother will give birth to a twin if X denotes the number of boys. So meron tayong specific question. So your number must be your answer must be a number. What are the possible values of X? A die is rolled twice. Let Y be a random variable that denotes the number of even numbers. Ito naman tayo sa even numbers. Ano even numbers? We have 2, 4, and then 6. Right? Okay, so you will concentrate on these numbers later. Okay, a dice rolled twice. Let Y be a random variable that denotes the number of even numbers. Meron tayo na specific na question. What are the possible values of Y? What are the possible values of Y if Y is a number of even numbers? Okay? So bibilangin nyo kung ilang 2 ang lumabas, ilang 4, ilang 6, and then you will just put that one in your answer. Okay? That will be your first activity. Ano bang dali lang? So I will take a screenshot for this one. And nilagay ko sa inyong keyboard account. Lagay ko grade 11 para di malito, di siya mahalo sa grade 12 na physics. Okay. Next one. This one, we will just answer this maybe next meeting. Kasi ayoko namang gawin niyo ito kasi medyo nga. Okay, so these are the summarization of this first slide that we did our first lesson. That was random variable. Meron tayong 4 definitions. We have the random experiment. Okay, this is only an experiment na pwedeng ulitin ng ilang beses, but with the same condition. Okay, outcome, this will be the result of the random experiment. Pwedeng head or tail. It's either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 if you are doing a die, and so on and so forth. The sample space, these are the list of possible outcomes. List or set of possible outcomes of a random experiment. Okay? Make sure your first letter is a capital letter. It's either A, B, it's up to you. Okay? Pero dapat is siya capital letter. For the last one, you have the random variable. A function that associates a numerical value to every outcome of a random experiment. Denoted by a capital letter. The domain is a sample space and the range is some set of real numbers. Again, for this kind of problem, pag wala specific na sagot or walang specific na tanong, you can write the sample space. Okay, yun yung mismong sagot. But if we have a specific question, then you need to count the necessary number of something para makuha niyo yung random variable or possible values of x. Okay? Okay. Bilis natin, di ba? Now, let's continue our discussion. Let us more deepen, okay, our understanding about random variables. So we have here, we have 2 classifications of random variables. Ito mo na ito. Gusto nakikita yung mukha ko eh. Okay, so we will now continue our discussion. We will classify random variables as discrete and continuous. Okay, discrete and continuous. Discrete and continuous. So what are those 2 variables? start. At the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to accurately differentiate discrete and continuous random variables and correctly determine whether a random variable is discrete or continuous. So it's too easy. Okay, so you will just analyze if the random variable is discrete or a continuous random variable. Okay, so easy. Let us first recall what are the definitions we have. We have the random experiment, we have the outcome, we have the sample space, and we have the random variable. Okay. So these are the essential questions. Why is it important to classify random variables as either discrete or continuous? Is it possible for a random variable to be discrete and continuous at the same time? So we will answer those questions later. Now, we have first discrete random variable. Discrete random variable. A random variable with a finite, okay, a finite number of possible outcomes. I mean finite number of possible outcomes. Ibig sabihin, exact. Okay, that is finite. Hindi siya pwede na mag-pass ng may mga dot na ganyan. Okay, so it must be exact number of possible values or an infinite number of values that can be counted. Okay? Another clue that can be counted. Nabibilang. Pwede mabilang sa daliri. Okay? Pwede mabilang sa daliri sa kamay at sa paa. It's counted. Example we have, the number of phones produced by a company is a discrete random variable. Why? It's because we are just counting the number of phones. For example, sa klase nyo lahat kayo may phone, o di nasa 30, gano'n. Diba? So 30 yung number ng phones. So 30 is an exact number. 30 can be counted using your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, up to 30. You can count by yourself. Right? So that is an example of discrete random variable. Okay, since it counted, or it can be counted as 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. It has an infinite number of values that can be counted. Diba? For example, meron pang pumasok na isang estudyante, ito pang 31, o next naman 32, 33, 34, 35. So we have infinite number of values that can be counted. That is discrete. Okay? Pinaka summarization ng discrete is exact at nabibilang. Ang inyong mga kamay, exact at nabibilang. Okay. Continuous. Continuous random variable. From the word continuous. So, pwedeng ituloy. Correct? It's continuous. Pwede siyang ituloy. A random variable that can assume an infinite number of values that can take decimal or fractional values. Okay. So, if we have some variables, okay, some variables na merong decimal or fraction, that is now considered as continuous. Kasi hindi mo naman siya mabibilang using your hands or using your fingers. Mabibilang mo yung 1.5. So sabihin mo 1.5. So do you want us half? No, we cannot. Okay, so you need to understand the difference between the continuous and the discrete. Okay? So, ang discrete, nabibilang. Okay? Using your fingers or something in exact number. Yung continuous, it includes decimal and fractions. Decimal and fractions. So, 20.02, 1 and 1 over 2, mga ganyan. So, those are continuous random variables. For example, for continuous, sorry, The height of a student is a continuous random variable since its possible values can be represented by decimal numbers. Diba? Yung height natin. Hindi ako sabihin, oy, 180 centimeters ka. Oy, 120 centimeters ka kasi maliit ka. Uy, 30 centimeters ka lang. Hindi pwedeng ganon. We need to be exact. So, if you really measure the height of a person, merong decimal. Tama? So, yung decimal, yung numbers na yon, that those are considered as continuous random variables. Okay? Height. So, also the weight. Tama? Also weight. So, yun dito, ang ginawa ng it said height and then naging kilograms. Wrong, okay? This will be weight. So this one is kilograms. Of course, height is about inches, it's about feet, it's about centimeters, it's about meters. Okay? So that is the differences between the discrete and continuous random variable. Again, discrete, these are random variables that can be counted by your bare hands, okay? And those are numbers are exact. When we say continuous random variable, these are numbers that includes decimals and fractions. As simple as that. Okay? Let us try some examples here. A random variable has the following value: 7, 8, 10, 13, or 21. Is the random variable discrete or continuous? So let's check numbers. Pag wala siyang decimal, that's a walang decimal, that means this is a discrete. Okay, this is a discrete random variable. What if I will put 7.0, 8.0, 10.0, 13.0. Then we have 21.0. So that's gonna be 0.0. So is this considered as continuous? Kasi may decimal point na tayo. It is considered as continuous. No, still, it's because one of the laws in mathematics, kung tayong 0.0 is automatically a whole number. Okay? So, kasalan natin siyang ganyan. So, we have still a set of exact numbers. Okay? Or countable numbers. So, number 1 is an example of a discrete. Good. Next, number 2. Determine whether the recorded body temperature, so this will be our variable or main source of variables. Body temperature of a patient in hospital is a discrete or continuous random variable. Body temperature. Have you tried to makuha ng body temperature? Of course, ngayong quarantine, you need to do the temperature test. So body temperature, this is a continuous. Why is continuous? Continuous, we will explain here. The body temperature of a patient may take infinitely many possible decimal values. Okay? Decimal values such as 37.8, 41.1, 34.51. Kapag you are suspect for COVID, so you must have a 38 point and up, I think, or 37.8 up. Okay? So may kanong kang body temperature, ay Diyos ko. You are now a suspect. Baka may COVID ka na daw. So dapat ang temperature natin is mas mababa sa 37. So 36.8, 36.9, 37.0, mga ganyan. Para safe tayo. Okay? So again, discrete, exact number, walang decimal. Continuous, may decimal, may fraction. Okay? Easy. Individual practice, this will be your activity number 2. So I will send this one also to your keeper account. So I will take, or no, I will write first, grade 11. Okay, then screenshot, and then I will send this into your keeper account. You can send your answers um, until Saturday again, next week. Okay, so this will be the end of our lesson for today. Actually, those are 2 lessons. I'll just put the one in one kasi madali lang naman siyang i-connect sa dalawa. Okay, so see you again next Saturday. And it's because every Saturday I have a class here in Thailand now. May klase na ako ng Saturday. Pagbawi namin sa lockdown na nangyari. So, class kami na Saturday. So, I will do recordings only. But every Sunday, meron tayong 1 hour. Kung meron kayong questions, just chat me. And mag-usap-usap kayo. Sino yung mga may questions. Then mag-open ako ng Zoom. And I will send you the link. That is every Sunday. Your time for Sunday is 2 to 3. I think. 2 to 3. Tama. 2 to 3 sa grade 11 statistics. Kasi ang 1 to 2 ko is physics. Yeah, kung may questions sila, so I am open for them around 1 to 2 p.m. And then kayo is 2 to 3 naman. And then yung mga STEM na grade 11 naman is 3 to 4. Ang open ko sa kanila. Okay, so see you again next time. Happy New Year again.